Hi, this is Carl with another success tip for managed service providers. Today I want to talk about customer service, or as customers call it, service, and where you draw the line between what you control and what you influence. Now, here's this very sophisticated chart where you can see the blue lines on each side, you and your client. The blue line is what you control, okay? The green line is what you influence and what they influence. And so the overlap in the little Venn diagram, well, that's the area where both you and the client have some influence in the relationship that the two of you share. So I put a nice dark line there so it points to the area where you both have influence. Remember, one of the absolutely unbreakable rules of service delivery is that you cannot control people, but you can control your process. So you have a process that you have absolute control over. That's the blue line. Your client has an absolute process, or some kind of process, for how they buy, how they interact, how they want to be served. And so you've got your stuff and they got their stuff. Now, this is a great example of what I mean when I say you cannot control people. Clients are going to do what they want. They might have unreasonable expectations. They might want a little more than they're paying for. They might want the same service, but not having to pay extra after 5 o'clock. Or they want the same service, but they want it on a weekend, or they want different documentation, or they want you to train their employees on their process, right? There's all kinds of things that they might want. Some of those are reasonable, some of those are not. You cannot control what the client wants. You cannot control how the client wants to do business with you, but you can influence it. And that is gargantuan, because good customer service can only happen when you and your client agree on what the relationship is, on what the service is, on where the volume of that area is with regard to what you both have influence over. Let me give an example. So let's say that you want clients to go into your system and enter a ticket so that they can have a service request so that you can actually make their life better. Great. You control the process for creating the ticket, but they control their behavior. So you do have influence on them, because you can, for example, have a voicemail message that says, "Thanks for calling our service department. Remember, the fastest way to get service is to go to www.ourwebsite.com and open a service request. But if you're interested in doing it on the phone, that's fine too. Leave us a voicemail, we'll get back to you, or push 1 for tech support, and we'll put you on hold until somebody can be around to talk to you, blah, 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 whatever." The point is, you are influencing them because you're saying, here are these options. Now, you can also put it in your newsletter. Fastest way to get support, enter a ticket. Second fastest way, give us a phone call. Third fastest way, whatever, send me a text message and hope that I'm paying attention to it when I should be doing something else that is profitable for my company. You can only control what happens inside your company. You can influence what happens at the client, but you have to be good at communicating what you want, and you have to be rigorous about how you behave. You know, you've seen people who tell their dog, "Get off the couch, get off the couch, get off the couch, get off the couch." Oh God, I hate it, you know? And then they walk away, the dog stays on the couch, and they whine about the dog being on the couch. Don't do that, right? You can't control dogs, but you can control your process, which is going over there, moving the dog off the couch every single time that they get on, and eventually they realize that's not a place for them. That is something that you can influence, right? With your clients, it is a very similar thing. You have to actually push them to do what they want. I just recently had a conversation with somebody where I'm turning over one of the activities from me to her, and somebody had put in something wrong, and she said, "Oh, should we just fix that for them?" And I said, "No, No, because then you'll be training them that they don't have to fix it because you will, right? It's the same thing. Employees, clients, dogs, you control what you control, they control what they control. And it's that line down the middle, right? That's where you have to focus creating good experiences. Now, this is a problem in the 21st century when people try to automate too much. It may be that you have the kind of clients who love doing everything online and they will happily put in a ticket. They don't actually want to talk to you on the phone. Or you may have older clients who they just use the phone, period. That's how service is done. And they don't do any of this online stuff. To them, that is a big red flag that represents bad service. So you can influence them, but at some point, if you push too hard with that regard, you may lose some clients because they simply want you to talk to them on the phone. My argument would be raise your rates and talk to them on the phone if that's what they insist on doing. Now, that's not what I would do. I would not have those people as clients. But if you want to keep them, there's a price to pay. Remember, nobody wants to believe this, but it's absolutely true. Service costs money to provide. If you decide that you're going to let the client determine how you provide service, that's cool. You need to charge more for that, because if you make the decision in the area that you control, you're going to make a decision that saves you the most money. If you let them have too much influence, well, they're going to have you doing things you'd rather not do. They need to pay for that. And I'm not kidding. Like your service costs money, so you have to make sure that it is a profit center for your business. If you're watching this video, there's probably an extremely high probability that you are in a service business, in which case service is where you make all of your money. And that includes so-called customer service. All service is service that should pay for itself. Service should not be a money-losing proposition anywhere inside your company. So think about the kinds of ways that you interact with your clients and where they are happiest and where you are happiest. And what's that happy medium? What is that area where you both have influence and you're both made to be happy with that experience? Remember, the blue line is real. You are never going to control something that is in the control of the client, but they are never going to control anything that's within the blue line, within the area that you have control over. So it's that influence area where you got to figure out, how do we build a relationship there that maximizes the client's happiness with the kind of service that they get? Now, somewhere else, they might have more influence with somebody who has fewer well-defined borders about what they will and won't do. That person will make less money than you. The person who has the most rules about what they control and what they don't control and understands that relationship, understands where the overlap happens, that person will make the most money. Think about how you've defined your customer service experience. Talk to your clients about it. What do they like? What do they not like? What would they like to change? Because they want to push that line. They want to push their area of influence into certain ways. And you know what? If it turns out to be something that is easy for you to do and profitable for you to do, you might just decide that you're going to do it. So be open to what they want, because it may actually be in your own best interest. But also remember, there have to be some hard lines. And again, I always look at the airline industry for this. If you say, you know, if my flight is late, I want to get my money back. Well, there are airlines who say that's absolutely never going to happen. And there are airlines that say, ugh, I'm sorry, yeah, we will credit your account. So you get to pick which airline you're going to do business with, right? And they get to decide what their rules are. But you can't go to one airline and expect the kind of service that you would get at a different airline. So, you know, the levels of service that you get are related to the price. They're also related to a long-term relationship. And that's true whether it's airlines or IT services. I'd love your feedback. Like it if you like it. Please subscribe to the channel and send me any comments or questions. For Small Biz Thoughts, this is Carl Polishuk, wishing you the best of luck in everything you do.